Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be having a look at a strong ship design which I haven't shown yet, but I've been meaning to over recent times, but been a bit distracted. It's a very strong PvP build, and it's also very good against the AI, and I'll also show you a counter to it, but then I'll also show you how to beat that counter and counter pretty much any early to mid fleet combat you may face. So let's dive in and have a look at the ship build. I'll bring it up here for a better view. So here we go. We've got a torpedo cruiser mixed with missiles. So this is a reasonably early. You can get this between year 30 to 40. A lot of this technology. If you're playing a pretty strong build, maybe it might be a little bit later for some people. So we're using the standard armored torpedoes, level 2. Level 3 missiles to give us ranged firepower. This will give us a great deal of closer range firepower against other cruisers, good against destroyers and even battleships if you happen to run against them. And then we've also got whirlwind missiles. So we've got a combination of short and long range firepower here. Now the reason why this is good is because this helps combat smaller craft and also gives us long range fires as soon as we enter engagement range. Just going with a mix of armor mostly because it gives us a more bung for our alloy compared to shields. Now if you're facing someone who's running more energy weapons, you can easily just swap in a few more shields if you need to. Running afterburners, so we try and close this distance so we can get our torpedoes done quicker, and just a standard mix of early tech settings there. So you can see it's quite low tech. It's not going to cost a lot there. Advanced computers is quite good. I always try and get that early, so I put that in there. So I could probably get this build up by year 30. Maybe a few years later, just depends on how you roll, but this is pretty good build to get by year 30. Sometimes the level 2 torpedoes may not come in, and it works just as well if you want to run level 1 torpedoes. Level 1 work just as well, and even lower tiers of missiles. That's not neither here nor there if you happen to get yourself into a war earlier. Now facing this fleet is our bring it up here, is our missile meta cruiser, which has been used a lot since the 3.6 combat update. So it's using all swarmer missiles, same armor and shield combination there, afterburners with artillery combat computer to try and keep the distance, and same sort of bare basics technology there. So you can get this build out pretty early as well. You can see similar fleet firepower, not much in it, and also very similar in fleet cost. It's about roughly 20,000 alloys each. It's not much in it really. Actually, I didn't show the combat computer for the meta one. So that's you got the torpedo computer for that one. Let me just check. Torpedo, and what's the missile one running? Oop, I need to fix that. Okay, I just had to fix up the combat computers on this. I noticed I put advanced on the torpedo cruisers, but I didn't on the missile cruisers here. So you can see now they're standard early tech basic combat computers. This one's running artillery, so they can try and kite this cruiser fleet around. And this one's running torpedoes. We want to try and close the distance so we can use our main weapons here. So let's see how this battle turns out.
Station under attack. Engaging enemy fleet.
So you can see the missiles are being exchanged there. Whirlwind missiles, a few missiles here. So this fleet's trying to close the distance. They've taken a few losses already. They've lost a bit of firepower as well. But now the torpedo cruisers are closing. Still taking more losses. But now they've closed the distance. Here you go. Torpedoes are away. And yeah, you can see the damage is being inflicted now. They're still losing some ships. Still relatively even at the moment. Okay. Very even. And though this fleet is losing more ships. Not a lot in it though. But it does look like the torpedo cruisers are going to win this. Okay, they are taking more losses as we get later in the battle. Just pause it here. You can see the actual ships destroyed is significantly more now. They started with 30, so they've actually had 50% of their fleet destroyed, not retreated. You can see those losses are really mounting now. So down to 10 versus 22, 9, 8. See, that's just that multiplicative damage from the torpedoes is what is doing the actual killing blows, because you get hit by a torpedo late when your hull is already low points like this. If you can see the actual hull points, 855. You can see to get hit by torpedoes, their hulls are really low. Look at it. So that's why they're taking significant damage. 7, 6. Wow. We've nearly wasted their entire fleet. 4, 3. Jeez. 27 cruisers down.
Fleet lost.
Wow. Fleet lost. We destroyed every single ship in that fleet. 30 cruisers destroyed versus 20. That is just phenomenal. Now you'd hope your enemy would have hit the retreat button a little bit earlier than that, but you can just see in terms of efficiency of alloys, that's just massive. Just that damage being put out by these guys once they close to range. Not only does it make sure you win the battle, but the enemy fleet is not coming back to hit you again. And cruisers have the higher disengagement chance. Normally get more retreating than you do than you normally lost, but they just lost 30 cruisers. Let's just check the fleet battle. 30 or 29. Geez, 29. Okay, one got away. Damn. 29 to 10. So work that out is a in terms of alloy cost. I think the fleet's about 20,000 each. So the actual where's the alloy cost? I'll be able to bring it up here. Ship design. So that was the Metacruiser missile cruiser. So 643 alloys. So multiply that by 30. I think it comes out 19 something thousand alloys. So they lost about 19,000 alloys. Only one cruiser survived that battle. So that was very, very one-sided. Very, very strong design to be able to kill the kiting missile cruisers so effectively. All right, let's move on to our next battle. For this next battle, got our same torpedo cruisers, but this time we're going to use a fleet of disruptor cruisers. This is another strong build players have been using. So running with all level 2 disruptors, so you have to close to close range, but the benefit is it goes through the shields and armor to attack directly to the hull. So, and they're medium or medium weapons, so they do a good amount of damage. So I'm not sure how effective it'll go against these guys, because these guys are torpedoes and they've got missiles, so they're going to be firing at long range, doing damage, and then when they get close, they're going to do lots of multiple damage to those cruisers. So I don't expect this fleet to win, but I wanted to show it because lots of people have been using designs similar to this. So pick a computer so they close to medium range and start using their weapons. These guys are close to close range anyway, and it's versus our same torpedo cruisers, or the meta cruisers as I call it now, because I really like this design, or something similar. You can do little variations of either of this if you really want to. You can use the Archaeotech weapons in here too. If you could get that early, that'd be even better, particularly if you pick the Ascension perk. Alright, let's see how this fight goes.
Station under attack. Engaging enemy fleet.
Okay, so the missiles are away. Here the disruptors chiming in. Torpedoes away. So you can see they're already losing cruisers. Yeah. The disruptors are taking out some. It'd be interesting to see the actual losses, the actual ships destroyed. No, the disruptors have been quite effective. Probably lost more than I thought they would. Closer than I thought. Oh, but no, now that another torpedo volley comes and it goes bang. So they're already down to only 50% strength. Next torpedo volley, bang. There we go. So they're down to 13, 12, 11, 10. See, the torpedoes, missiles are just hammering them down, 9. And this is where you can see where the low hull damage is really hurting them big time. 6, yeah, they're getting killed. Similar result to the missile cruiser. We'll just slow this down. I want to see if they lose all of their ships. 2, yeah. So this fleet did take a few more losses versus the disruptor fleet. I found that surprising, actually. So there we go, 18. And how many ships were left? None. They lost all 30. Still not bad. They came away with what? That's with about 60% of their fleet left, versus none for the enemy. So the disruptors are they're very effective. They're pretty effective against smaller ships. If someone's spamming you with corvettes and destroyers, even frigates, they're not too bad with, because they destroy it quite quickly because they go through shields and armor. All right, so another strong victory there for the torpedo cruiser. So this is one fleet combination you would use against torpedo cruisers, because the torpedo cruisers have to close into close range to use their main weapons. You want something that can sort of counter that, and a good counter to that is the corvettes with disruptors and the using point defense. And I often use these type of fleets right through to late game to just try and whittle down the enemy's missile barrages, torpedo barrages, and get in close range, cause havoc. And plus they're so fast, they normally tank the alpha shot if you're dealing with multiple fleets, which I'll show that in other videos. So we'll see, and it's also 120 ships, so you've got 120 point defenses and 240 disruptors versus the cruisers, which we'll see if they can do enough damage to destroy the corvettes before they can inflict their damage. Let's find out.
Station under attack. Engaging enemy fleet.
Losing a few corvettes. Oh, cruisers down already. Some you can see they're retreating. Firepower's dropping quite quick, not losing many losses there.
Mining station lost.
Just not taking losses. We're dropping like a fly at the moment. It's just their numbers. The numbers have got it. Very effective. Wow. They lost 7 corvettes. Very, very effective. So they actually lost 12 cruisers destroyed versus 7 corvettes. Very, very one-sided. So you can see there how effective corvettes can be, and that'd be a direct counter to that. But if you see an enemy using lots of corvettes, frigates, even destroyers, I would opt for probably carrier cruisers with strike craft. Very effective against countering that. So, but I knew this was a hard counter. I knew this would win before I tried it. So, because they normally do, the corvettes. So, but it is quite pricey. It is more expensive to build. It costs a few thousand more alloys to build this fleet than the torpedo cruisers. So, all right. So we'll move on. Now that we know that's a direct counter. So in this fleet, we've got our Corvette disruptors again. No changes. Swarm computers. But this time we're going to try our carrier cruiser. So it's got the whirlwind missiles in the medium slots, 2 lots of point defences, and then we've got our hangar bay with level 2 strike craft, medium armour, shields, afterburners, artillery combat computers to see if we can try and keep our distance from the Corvettes, but they will close. So, and keep in mind, the point defences do damage to close range ships, 30 range. They do 25% damage to armour and 100% armour damage. So it can really help with those Corvettes. Good accuracy. And the fire rate is pretty good. 6.75 damage. It's not too bad early in the game. Alright, let's check this out and see how we go.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Just the speed a little bit. So strike craft are engaging, missiles are engaging, Corvettes have now got their disruptors close range. So we're losing Corvettes, no cruisers yet. Might be one retreated there. Yeah, Corvettes are still going down, a couple cruisers retreated. You see they are taking significant losses quite quickly. You can see the difference in this battle versus the other battle, simply because you can see the strike craft going, hammering away at them. But you can still see the point defences going everywhere. They've actually only lost 1 cruiser so far. Yeah, they're going down the fly, so we're down, what's that, 65, 63. Only lost 1 cruiser so far. Bang, done, battle over. So there you go. I just wanted to show those battles because if people, or even if the AI is using lots of smaller ships against your torpedo cruisers, carrier cruisers are the direct counter. You can just see how just easily that battle was won. We lost 1 cruiser and their losses were, what's that, 62 Corvettes. More than half their fleet was destroyed. That's pretty good considering the Corvettes with their higher invasion, and we only had 30 cruisers. And that fleet's more expensive to build as well, by a few thousand alloys. So you can see the direct counter, and that gets me to my last battle I wanted to show, and you'll see why I did these other battles. So for this fight, we've got a mixed battle. I'll probably do a couple battles to show you how the Corvettes go, mass Corvettes. So we've got our missile cruisers. We've got 15 of these to try and get that strong design going and get some long range firepower into this fleet while they're closing the distance. And then we've got 60 of our disruptor Corvettes. So we've got a mix of firepower, long range firepower, and trying to kite them around doing constant damage while our Corvettes close to point blank range, engage them, destroy their missiles, because this fleet is going to be having these missiles firing us. So those Corvettes should take care of a lot of the missiles for us. It's just mainly the torpedoes we've got to watch out for. So hopefully their cruisers can get away from kiting, and the Corvettes can screen these guys a bit. But to counter this Corvette screening fleet, we've got our carrier cruisers in there as well. So we've got 15 of each, 15 carrier cruisers and 15 torpedo cruisers in this fleet that we've seen in the other battles. So it's pretty much the tic-tac-toe method where, okay, the torpedo cruisers were great against a number of threats. Pretty much probably all cruiser types you could probably think of. The torpedo cruiser with those missiles and that design is going to win 9 times out of 10. So the direct counter for that is mass Corvettes. Okay, but the direct counter to mass Corvettes is carriers, cruiser carriers. So now we've got torpedo cruisers and carrier cruisers in the one fleet. So that should be counter to nearly anything the enemy can throw at you. You're just going to counter small ships. It's going to counter medium-sized ships. Torpedoes are going to take care of medium and large-sized ships. So this should be very effective. Let's see how the results go.
Engaging enemy fleet.
So that's a strike craft going in. Point defences firing, missiles away. So they're losing Corvettes. That'll be the strike craft hitting them. No cruisers down yet, maybe one retreated just then. No cruisers down yet. One's destroyed there. 2, 3. Losing a lot of Corvettes, so they've lost a couple of cruisers as well. But you can see the discrepancy in the fleet power. So more of a retreated. 4 cruisers dead. The battle is swinging one-sided now. Yeah, heavily in favour of the other side now. They've lost the bulk of their corvettes. Hull points are getting down now, so now they're going to take significant losses. You'd want to retreat before you got down this low. That's retreated fleet. That was retreated fleet, so they had a couple more ships than that, but so we lost, I think we had about 26 when they retreated. So that's what, 34, and I think they had 6 or 7. I think it was 6. So they lost, 8, 9, so well over 60% losses versus 4 cruisers. So you can see how effective this type of combination is against large and small targets at the same time. So that is a really good combination to use if someone's coming at you with small fleets and big fleets, or trying to spam you with corvettes, or just trying to hit you with corvettes, destroyers, even frigates. Someone might be trying to use cloaked frigates on you as well. You can also cloak this ship design. There's no reason why you couldn't use the torpedo cruisers with cloak, provided you've got the cloaking technology to work on cruisers. That's the only downside to that. Earlier in the game anyway, because this is pretty early game technology. Now I'll do one last battle. Let's test out the massed corvettes again against the this mixed fleet. We'll see how we go. Okay, so for this battle we are using our massed corvette fleet again. Disruptors, point defences, all same as we saw in the previous battle, against our mixed fleet of carrier cruisers rather, and our missile cruisers and torpedo cruisers. So mixed, mainly torpedoes, the main damage there. So we'll see how this mixed fleet can go against this mass numbers. I'm not sure if this fleet will prevail. I think it should. It'll just depend on how the main key here is the strike craft. If the strike craft can do enough damage and whittle those corvettes down so that their disruptors can't do enough hull damage to the cruiser fleet to win. So let's find out. And their mass point defences should negate their missile damage a fair bit.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Strike craft are going out. Point defence is working against the missiles. Corvettes are dropping down. Not as quick as I would have thought. Lost 3 cruisers already. 4. Though the firepower is roughly the same. It's ebbing and flowing. Lost 5 cruisers. So the Corvette numbers are dropping still. I think a lot are retreating. We've lost quite a lot of cruisers as well. I think quite a few have retreated. It's pretty close. See, late in the battles, those strike craft can really come into play, but they've just lost so many cruisers. Still tight. You can see they've only lost 6 cruisers though versus, what's that, 46 corvettes now. The numbers are just dropping. The strike craft are just getting them because so much have retreated. Their losses are really starting to mount. Yeah, so cruisers have held the day here, but not by a lot. So yeah, so they've retreated. They lost about 50% of their fleet roughly, versus what's that? Oh, about a quarter of their fleet roughly. So that was that was very effective, close battle. But in terms of alloys lost, though, it was very one-sided. 6 cruisers lost versus 60 corvettes. That's a trade you're going to take any day of the week. So this build here is very, very powerful, very flexible. You can with the combination of the, bring up the Torpedo Cruiser, that's the missile cruiser, Torpedo Cruiser there, this design, with your Carrier Cruiser combination, very effective against large and small fleet combinations. Even you just seen there against mass small fleet combinations. Getting 120 Corvettes early in the game is no small feat. And then even against we saw against the cruisers as well, mixed fleet of cruisers and Corvettes wasn't effective. They got wiped even easier. And you can scale this up as well. As you get Devastator torps and better weapons, this is going to be more effective into the late game. And I would also have a second design where you can use neutron launchers, have two different types of these type of cruisers. So you can use your long range weapons with your short range weapons, and then you can also combine them later in the game with battleship carriers and have far more strike craft. And they also add their long range weapons in terms of, they've probably got an X slot as well, and missile slots firing away at the enemy, as well as using their strike craft. So that could be a really powerful combination, using the cruisers with the torpedoes, with the battleships as carrier battleships as well. We've just seen this, except on a larger scale than what your carrier cruiser can do, but you can use this very early in the game. Now these are also very effective, even if it's earlier in the game and you're using basic strike craft and you've got, you really need your swarmer missiles, but you can also use lower tier missiles if you've only got level 2 missiles or level 1 torpedoes. The results are going to be similar, because your enemy's going to have, hopefully, similar tech to you, unless you've been neglecting your tech, and then the battle is already determined because your tech score would be too low. So you just need to keep that in mind. So yeah, very powerful combination. I'm very surprised it beat that 120 Corvettes actually. Very efficient, very effective. You've seen in the losses, in terms of the other fleets, how much losses they're taking in comparison to the the fleets with torpedo cruisers in them. Those torpedoes are just destroying the enemy fleets big time, so that the alloy efficiency is well in favor of the torpedo cruiser. And when you're facing smaller fleets like this, you can still see the strike craft are making the whole fleet far more efficient in terms of losses as well. We've lost a quarter, they've lost 50% or more of their fleet. So you can see the exchange there. If you're having a to and fro war of attrition, you're going to win that every day of the week. So I hope I've shown how you can beat the missile cruiser meta, which a lot of people have been using, the kiting. This torpedo cruisers with missiles beats that hands down, and pretty much beats every other early combination that I can think of at the moment. The only thing which would be a direct counter would maybe be artillery cruisers, but the artillery comes a bit later in the game, and also artillery battleships would be the direct counter to using cruisers like this. But then by that stage of the game, you're using your own type of battleships as well, which would counter them. So it's tic-tac-toe again, but this is probably one of the most dominant ship design, fleet designs you can likely use in the early, mid, and the earliest part of the late game till X-slot weapons and stuff become available. Then the equations start to change. Alright, if you've enjoyed this video and you enjoy the content that I've been making on this channel, I do have a Patreon site that you can see in the links below, and membership on YouTube. So if you'd like to sponsor me, help me out a lot and greatly appreciate it. It helps me to make more content. But if not, just hit that subscribe button and like button for me. It helps me with the algorithm. Alright, catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.